Greetings, everyone. Welcome to my sketchbook. Today is March 31st, and today's drawing is going to relate to Angus Young of AC/DC, who is amongst my favorite guitarists. Yesterday, for example, was Eric Clapton's birthday, and so he turned 81 yesterday. Angus turns 71 today, so happy birthday, Angus Young. For fun, I'm going to ramble on about a bunch of stuff here anyway, which is typical of me. So I'm going to focus on this distance and see if I can come up with something. So I haven't drawn this particular character in a little while. So let's see what happens anyway. Let's pick roughly here, and I'm going to start with the eyes as I often do and see how it goes. Now it might look a little spooky. While I'm drawing this, I want you to imagine something. So when the Spider-Man movies with like Tobey Maguire came out, they got an actor who, beyond Jim Carrey, for example, has one of the most expressive faces. And they put a mask on this guy and just didn't. Anyway, I think they made a terrible mistake by putting a mask on Willem Dafoe, who, anyway, that guy can make sinister faces all day. So, anyway, I am trying to draw some version of the Green Goblin. Now, is it going to look a lot like the Green Goblin? I guess we're going to find out. Will it be more of a caricature? Well, maybe. I guess we're going to find out. So sad. The reason why I'm drawing the Green Goblin has to do with a movie that came out in 1986 called Maximum Overdrive, which was, it was a Emilio Estevez movie, of the acting Sheen family. So like Charlie Sheen's brother. He was in a lot of stuff. So like Breakfast at Tiffany's and no, Breakfast Club. What am I saying? The Breakfast Club. Emilio Estevez. Pretty cool actor, actually. So, Maximum Overdrive. The music, the soundtrack, provided by AC/DC. The big song from that soundtrack was Who Made Who. And if you can imagine, a bunch of like little kids. So at this point, I was like 12, something like that. And, like WWE was known as the WWF at that point. And we were like doing suplexes on each other or whatever, figure four leg locks or whatever kind of sinister things that we were doing to each other, because that's what our heroes were doing. Oh, it was wild times way back then. We were pretty much breaking each other in half. Anyway, so hey, if you know anyone who's Gen X, ask them if they know who Jimmy Superfly Snuka is and some of those guys and gals of that era, because we were flying at each other. Anyway, so Maximum Overdrive, that's kind of what I was getting at here with this picture. It's a Stephen King story, and weirdly enough, this movie was actually directed by Stephen King as well. And it's meant to be a horror movie of sorts. So if you can imagine, uh, machines would come alive and were upset with people and would be out to get them. Now, my little buddies and I, who liked special effects and scary movies and all that kind of stuff, we'd get hold of like copies of Fangoria magazine, for example. So if you were into like Friday the 13th or any zombie movie, so like George Romero or Clive Barker, who were some other John Carpenter movies. Anyway, if you loved special effects, you would get hold of one of these magazines, and it would give you kind of a heads up on, how the special effects came about, who and what might have been involved in making those special effects. So we knew about this movie before it came out because you get these like little previews and stuff from Fangoria magazine, and I think we all kind of look forward to this. I mean, I knew who Spider-Man was, and as well as his rogue gallery of hooligans. Anyway, so we knew who the Green Goblin was. Now, I don't know if they actually had permission. I didn't look any of this stuff up that I'm rambling on about. I'm just rambling on. I don't know if they had permission to use the Green Goblin or the image. I have a feeling they didn't. So they probably, although Marvel at that point, they weren't the same sort of powerhouse as they are now with the House of the Mouse. You know what I mean? So yeah, maybe I'll look that up after. So that's what I'm kind of drawing here. A little bit of this, but I'm going for a different sort of style. The Green Goblin. Now, when Angus is on stage, he was actually pretty famous for wearing like a schoolboy outfit. So it would be like a blazer and shorts. So it'd be like a sport coat or sport jacket, I should say, and as well as a coat. I'm just trying to think of how I want some parts of this to look. So let's go with collar here. And here's where things are going to get a little rough looking. I want the tie kind of flowing a little bit out this way. And if you have the stripes on the knot going, let's say, this way, then the actual tie itself, the knots would go the other way. Not knots, but the stripes would go the other way. So I'm saying that out loud for me, mind you, not so much for any of you who are tagging along. Let's see here. Musical influences. Well, from my understanding, just from seeing the way, and I'll say this much, I actually saw AC/DC perform live, and it was amazing. They actually shared the bill of sorts, or billing, with the Rolling Stones. And if you can imagine this, they stole the show. AC/DC stole the show from the Rolling Stones. Like, I mean, anyway, so these guys are just, they're phenomenal. They put on a show for sure. And they engage with the audience, and So anyway, awesome. Now what am I going to do with the other hand here? As a kid, I did play the guitar a lot. I had lots of bands that I listened to. Uh, I loved old blues and I loved old rock and roll. And my mom insisted that I learn some uh, classical as well, because one of the worst things about learning a musical instrument is disturbing everyone else with your practicing. So if you're if you're just really rocking all the time, it is a nuisance to listen to somebody playing music that you don't really like. So my mom enjoyed uh, classical music, and anyway, so just a little bit of rambling on there. The guitar that I'm going to draw here, from ugly memory, because I'm familiar with the guitar, is a Gibson SG. A similar sort of instrument to what you would have seen Jimmy Page play. In fact, his double neck guitar, which is a custom built guitar, is an SG. Now, that SG, unlike what's played by Slash, for example, which is a Les Paul, it would be a twin horn guitar. So the horn, or the horns, I should say, are on either side of the neck. The underside here and the upper part of the guitar here, where you rest your arm, would support these horns. What am I even rambling on about? This is some wacky stuff that I'm talking about. Anyway, so the horns are basically just a feature on the instrument itself for its shape. Anyway, here's some more rambling on about AC/DC, who did the soundtrack to Maximum Overdrive. Actually, let me work on a couple other things here first before I go into that. So I'm going to have a humbucker here, humbucker here, that bridge. I don't have enough room for all of it. And it's not going to be accurate because, well, I don't have it in front of me. We'd have like a switch that controls the pickups there. We'd have 4 knobs, kind of roughly here, but, and then the means by which to plug it in. I'm going to say it's something like that. I feel like I was going to say something. Oh yeah, well, a long time ago I started saying something about the influences of music and Angus, and I think a lot of the sort of showmanship that he has is a tribute to Chuck Berry. So something that Chuck would do, and if you've seen like Back to the Future, which came out around the same time as Maximum Overdrive, you get to see Michael J. Fox do this thing lovingly referred to as the duck walk, which would be a Chuck Berry move, sort of a strutting across the stage, one foot kind of hopping in front of the other. I don't know if I can do that. Like, you just kind of hop across the stage doing this. Wasn't there a popular, like, I'm not on TikTok, but anyway, wasn't there a popular TikTok kind of floating foot move. It was very similar to Chuck Berry's Duck Walk, but it almost looked like your foot hovered. Anyway, I could be wrong. I would think Angus and the boys, which were, I guess there were a bunch of brothers. So it would be, at one time, George or Georgie Young played with the band, and of course Malcolm, who passed away a few years ago now. He was in the band for a long time playing rhythm guitar. George, I believe he played bass. Stevie is with the band now. He plays rhythm guitar. Anyway, an extraordinary group of musicians anyway. I'm trying to think. Well, I believe so. Okay, so the first singer might have been, this is testing me a little bit, Dave Evans, who oddly enough, that's the same name as The Edge. Oh, and by the way, if you meet somebody that has a stage name, do everybody a favor and don't call them by anything but their stage name, as a courtesy. Because if you don't know them personally, it's not really funny to call them by anything than their professional stage name. Like if you know Sting's real name, don't bother calling him anything other than Sting, even though he hints towards that kind of stuff. Like one of my favorite Sting albums is 10 Summoner's Tales, and his real name is Gordon Sumner. But yeah, if you don't know the guy, you don't have to call him by anything but Sting, just like Bono, just like The Edge. Anyway, so that's just rambling on, but let's add a little bit of color to this, and maybe let's back this out just a little bit because I'm kind of hiding some of his shoes a little bit. Okay, let's see if that'll lock in. What are we at? Almost 18 minutes. And then we might use a little bit of water and sharpen up some of the image on this. So let's try this green. And these pens are water soluble as well. So when I do bring out a little bit of water, it will move it around as well, so we will not lose our minds. Yeah. Now, the Green Goblin. Oscorp built super villain. Willem Dafoe is such a cool actor, and I really do think it's unfortunate that they put a mask on that guy. I mean, really, what a missed opportunity. Somebody who can pull faces probably just as good as Jim Carrey. Oh yeah, Willem Dafoe is a phenomenal actor. Okay, let's move to red because it's outrageous. Let us find, for fun. Oh, maybe that's too, well, let's find out. Well, if it ends up being a bit more than what we need, it is okay. But I have a lot of favorite guitarists who I listen to, which is lots of fun. Right now I'm just trying to figure out something with these shorts. Oh, here's a fun bit of trivia. If you've watched The Simpsons and you know the voice of Lisa Simpson, Yeardley Smith is also in Maximum Overdrive. She was also in like Herman's Head, and her along with a bunch of other actors were in the Tracy Ullman Show, which was kind of like a sketch comedy show that was late 80s, I believe. Simpsons have been on the air for quite some time. That is remarkable. Let's see. Do I want to have flesh tone or more of the same green? Because, you know, the goblin face. Well, why not? A little bit of green. Maybe we'll make the guitar dark red or burgundy or something. I'm just sort of very lightly scratching in this green. As I said, I'm going to hit this up with some water. But some of the coolest riffs in rock and roll is played by AC/DC. Maybe not that yellow. That's yellow. It's pretty. Oh, you know what? I am going to do it. Who's going to stop me? Now, Angus, as another sort of side note, he is a pretty heavy smoker, but he doesn't drink. There's a name for that. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. If someone told me, I would probably say yes, I would confirm that. Nor do I, if that even matters in the great scheme of things. Let's see. I'm going to go very lightly marking inside the mouth. So what are we at? We're at 25 minutes. For some reason, as of late, my sweet spot, it seems, is in the 30-minute kind of range. It gives me a little bit more time to finish some of the messy stuff that I end up doing. I can get a decent little doodle done in maybe 10 minutes so that you can recognize something, but I don't know. Finish state wise, it's a little tougher for me to do Like right now, this still looks kind of messy even at that. Let's see. I don't know if I want to go quite so dark with this. Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add sort of like hints of brown. And then I'm going to put some ink in there as well. And we're going to get going with some of this water. And we can blend and blur and do all of those things. Now let's have this come out away from the body for a moment. And this right here needs to be curved just a little bit more. Chuck Taylors because I wear Chuck Taylors. Got a cup. And now get ready for the mess that we're about to make. Starting with the green, I'm just going to get in here and kind of blend that out a little bit, and it's going to draw out a little bit of the pen as well. And anything that gets too out of hand, I have a tissue, and it'll soak up a little bit of it. We're going to go next here to the jaw. So if you wish, leave a comment what your favorite AC/DC song is. Here's a weird little bit of trivia. Brian, the current lead singer of AC/DC, Brian Johnson, he doesn't perform It's a Long Way to the Top as kind of like a, well, he considers it to be Bon Scott's song. So out of respect for Bon, he doesn't sing it. So they haven't performed that live. I don't know if it was actually something that Axl did when he filled in for Brian when Brian was out for a bit. That's something I should look up, because that would be kind of interesting if he did, because that's something the band hasn't performed live since the passing of Bon. Let's go to the hand here. And get rid of some of that. Let's go to the blue. Sometimes I can let that sort of settle in a little bit, but in this case, I don't want it to. Okay. I'm just kind of messily working my way around with my #1 detailing brush. The pick guard would also be black, but I want to probably just leave that alone to some degree. Pretend that it just needs to stand out a little bit. It would have like white binding on it. Gotta make sure that I show at least that other side of that horn. You know what? I am going to fill that in just a little bit. I mean, it is a signature thing. We'll just say that it's reflective in a different kind of way. Here with the shoe. Ooh, making a run for it. Okay, what's the last thing that I need to do with this? Hat and then the stripes. Typically I do a lot of my drawings just in black and white. But for some reason, if you're going to do the Green Goblin, you might as well have it green. So that brought out some color. Then we'll do a quick bit of detail, and then we'll finish this up and just say that it's done. Okay. Clean the brush a little bit. Now we'll get the pen here again. We'll do a quick outline and say that should be it. Now this pen, which has a funny nickname. This is Mr. X. It is a Mont Blanc number 24 demonstrator. It is a sort of rare pen, I suppose. It's meant to show the inner workings of how the pen functions, especially, you know, it allows you to see on the inside. You can see ink being drawn into it. I typically dip this pen. I don't ink it. Not really my thing to do. If you haven't been to this channel before, welcome. Typically, I do drawings in such a way that I don't edit. So if it takes me an hour to do something, well, that's how long the video is. So sometimes I do very short videos, and sometimes I do longer videos. So feel free to subscribe if you wish, comment, share, hang out. Do your best to be respectful of each other, because I do this mainly for sake of my nieces and nephews who get to hang out with me and do art, which is kind of fun. What else can I ramble on about this little channel of sorts? Yeah, no, it's just meant to be kind of a fun place. And I do ramble on about a lot of really strange things. I draw off the top of my head. And I enjoy making little fun mistakes and trying to fix them. Because my sketchbook is not really supposed to be all about like a portfolio, or it's just supposed to be fun. Like, this isn't really serious things going on here. This is, although it is serious to wish Angus a happy birthday. I think that's very important. So again, I will say it, and I'm going to say it at the very end as well, but happy 71st birthday. Okay. I really seem to be taking my time with this for some reason, and yeah, some of the coolest riffs are by AC/DC. So if you're just learning to play the guitar, I recommend getting into some of this stuff. If you like the rock and blues, this is the way to go. I like B.B. King a lot as well, mind you. All right. Let's say this is kind of it. Finish off the shoe and a sock. And I don't know if there's anything else in the face that I really need to kind of, I can go a little bit under the nose here, just a little bit, a little around the cheek, but spooky face. Let's go a little dark around the eye here. Okay, so I gotta let this go. All right then, folks. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, look at that. I'm still holding that tissue. As I said, welcome to the channel if you haven't been here before. Comment, subscribe if you wish. I will say this again and again. You don't have to put on notifications if you do subscribe, because I do post almost daily, so you don't really need to have me sending you, like, that bell sound just because, in the middle of the night I wake up and it's like, oh, I'm going to doodle something. So I've said that before, but I'm saying it again. But yeah, that is it. Thanks for hanging out. Happy birthday, Angus Young, 71 today. And yeah, see you guys again sometime in the near future. All right. Ciao for now.